There are around 17 species of hedgehog around the world, but this video will be taking a look at the European hedgehog. This species can be found all over Europe and is an introduced species in New Zealand, where it is considered a pest as it threatens some of their native wildlife. It's Britain's only spiny mammal. Their coat contains around 6,000 spines made of keratin. These are the hedgehog's only line of defence. When threatened, the hedgehog will curl up into a ball, presenting its spines to the attacker. These are usually enough to deter all but the most determined of predators. Only badgers seem comfortable in hunting hedgehogs, although hedgehog remains have been found in the stomachs of foxes and pine martens too. It's possible these were the results of scavenging. Hedgehogs are one of Britain's favourite mammals, and they seem to be popular all over their distribution and are welcomed into our gardens. Over most of Europe they are in abundance, but unfortunately here in Britain they are in trouble. Although they are still found all over the country, their numbers have fallen drastically in recent years. There are now thought to be less than 1 million hedgehogs left, with one estimate in 2018 putting the number at 879,000. But what's causing the loss in hedgehog numbers? The usual suspects are all here: loss of habitat, increase in pesticides, but it's worth exploring these effects a bit more. Hedgehogs rely on hedgerows and woodland for food and shelter. With increased agriculture, that means larger fields and the removal of many hedgerows. Woodland is being cut down for development, often new housing or roads. The building of roads and new houses causes further problems. Roads obviously increase the risk of death by being hit by a car, but they also cause fragmentation of habitat. This makes it harder for the hogs to get from one green space to another. New built housing also causes this problem. Modern building techniques favour sterile gardens surrounded by impenetrable walls and fences, again making it incredibly difficult for hedgehogs to find food. Hedgehogs can roam up to 2 miles in the night in search of food, and barriers like walls, fences and roads make this a very difficult and dangerous task. By cutting small holes in fences, you can make a hedgehog's life much easier. Pesticides used in agriculture and in our gardens kill off food for hedgehogs. Hogs will eat earthworms, beetles, grasshoppers, caterpillars and earwigs. They will occasionally scavenge carrion and may eat ground nesting birds' eggs. Many people believe that slugs and snails are a major food source for hedgehogs, and while they will eat them, they tend to be a last result of the starving hog. Slugs and snails are a carrier of the lungworm parasite and can easily infect a hog, leading to a very unpleasant death if left untreated. With hedgehogs being so popular with humans, many of us like to leave out food for our cute garden visitors. Unfortunately, many food items that kind people leave out can have the opposite of the desired effect. Years ago it was a common belief that hedgehogs would love bread and milk, but bread has no nutritional benefit. It may make the hog feel full, but in reality it would be starving. Hedgehogs are also lactose intolerant, so milk can make them very ill. The big concern these days is mealworms. Many people think that they are helping by leaving bird food like mealworms out for hedgehogs. Unfortunately, mealworms are very tasty to hedgehogs, but they can cause a metabolic bone disease that reduces the bone density, which eventually leads to bones breaking and a lingering and unpleasant death for the poor hog. Check out my recent video on hedgehogs in my garden for more details on how to safely feed them. Another issue in our gardens is injuries from mowing and strimming. Hedgehogs spend the day in long grass and undergrowth, hidden away and sheltered. If they are disturbed by a keen gardener with a strimmer, it will defend itself. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, a hedgehog's only defence is to curl up into a ball. This will not protect it from the whirling blades of a mower. Please always check areas of overgrown vegetation before cutting, or better yet, leave it and encourage the insects that live there and become food for the hogs. Well, I want to show you some of my favourite footage from the hedgehogs in my garden. Hedgehogs are naturally solitary, so they don't actually like meeting each other. This can lead to scuffles, like when this hog rolls away its companion to give it more space at the food bowl. But not all encounters lead to aggression. Here we can see the male hedgehog slowly walking back and forth in front of the female. In his mind, he's being very sexy right now. The female, however, doesn't seem interested, and you can hear her snorting her displeasure. It appears this mating isn't going to be successful, at least today. Pregnancies in hedgehogs peak between May and July, but can occur later up until September. The female will give birth to a litter of between 4 and 6 hoglets, which she will look after alone. The young are born blind. They do have spines, but these are covered in skin to start with, but will start to come through almost immediately. By 11 days old, they are able to roll into a ball. Life expectancy in the wild is around 3 years, although they can live up to 10. Hedgehogs spend the autumn feeding and building up their body weight to allow them to hibernate during winter. They will usually go into hibernation around November and re-emerge the next spring around March. Although hedgehogs can still be active up until December, some hedgehogs may be active right through the winter. Even the majority that do hibernate may have periods where they emerge to feed or to move their nesting site. Youngsters that were born later in the season are often unable to build enough body weight to survive the winter. I've certainly fallen in love with these wonderful garden visitors, and it would be a tragedy if they were to disappear from Britain. I would encourage everyone who is able to provide food and most importantly fresh water for these spiky little animals. Let's do all we can to preserve and protect the hedgehog. Well, thank you for watching. Have you seen hedgehogs in your garden or local area? Let me know down in the comment section. Please subscribe so you don't miss out on more nature and wildlife videos, and I hope to see you very soon. Goodbye.